Welcome to Gone Legends. Today we honor 7 remarkable American stars, artists, actors, and storytellers whose brilliance touched millions. They gave us laughter, music, and unforgettable moments that still live in our hearts. Though their journeys have ended, their legacies shine forever, inspiring generations through their courage and creativity. At Gone Legends, we keep their memories alive, sharing their stories with the respect they deserve. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new tribute to the stars who made history. Because every legend deserves to be remembered.
Angela Evelyn Bassett, born on August 16, 1958, in New York City, was one of the most powerful and commanding actresses of her generation. Known for her incredible presence, grace, and emotional depth, she spent over 4 decades portraying women of strength, resilience, and dignity. Her breakthrough came in 1993, when she starred as Tina Turner in the biographical film What's Love Got to Do with It? Her performance was electrifying, raw, fearless, and deeply human. It earned her an Academy Award nomination and established her as a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood. But that was only the beginning. Throughout her career, Angela Bassett became known for embodying powerful, trailblazing women, from Betty Shabazz in Malcolm X and Panther, to Katherine Jackson in The Jacksons, An American Dream. She brought each role to life with unmatched authenticity and emotional intelligence. On screen, she radiated both strength and compassion, a balance few actors ever achieve. In 2018, her role as Queen Ramonda in Marvel's Black Panther introduced her to an entirely new generation of audiences. With her commanding voice, regal poise, and maternal warmth, she became the heart of the franchise, a symbol of leadership and love. Her performance in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever earned her another Oscar nomination, making her the first actor from the Marvel Cinematic Universe to achieve that honor. Off-screen, Angela Bassett was admired for her dignity, philanthropy, and dedication to empowering women and the Black community. She spoke openly about perseverance, self-worth, and the importance of telling stories that reflect truth and beauty. On July 2, 2025, the world was stunned by the news of her passing at the age of 67. Tributes poured in from actors, musicians, and fans around the globe, all celebrating the life of a woman who not only graced the screen, but uplifted those who watched her. Angela Bassett will forever be remembered as a queen, not just in cinema, but in spirit. Her artistry, her strength, and her legacy will continue to inspire for generations to come. Bill Cobbs, a beloved character actor whose face became a familiar and comforting presence across film and television, passed away on June 25, 2025, at the age of 90. Born on June 16, 1934, in Cleveland, Ohio, Cobbs' journey to Hollywood was anything but ordinary. Before becoming an actor, he served in the U.S. Air Force, worked as a radar technician, and even sold cars, all long before he ever stepped in front of a camera. His acting career began relatively late, in his mid-30s, when he joined the Caramoo House Theater in Cleveland, one of the oldest African-American theaters in the United States. It was there that Cobbs discovered his true calling, storytelling through performance. Over the next 5 decades, Bill Cobbs built one of the most respected and enduring careers in Hollywood. He appeared in more than 150 films and television shows, bringing warmth, sincerity, and quiet strength to every role he played. Among his most memorable performances were The Bodyguard, 1992, where he played Whitney Houston's loyal manager, That Thing You Do, 1996, as the wise jazz musician Del Paxton, and Night at the Museum, 2006, where he delighted audiences as the mischievous security guard Reginald. Cobbs had a rare gift, the ability to make even the smallest roles unforgettable. Whether he was playing a mentor, a preacher, a grandfather, or a friend, he brought authenticity and depth to his characters. Audiences trusted him instantly. His calm demeanor and soulful eyes made him a symbol of quiet wisdom and kindness. Beyond the screen, Bill Cobbs was deeply admired for his humility, professionalism, and faith. Colleagues often described him as a man of peace and integrity, someone who carried himself with the same grace off-screen that he portrayed in his roles. His passing marks the end of an era, but his spirit lives on in the countless films and television performances that continue to inspire new generations of actors and viewers. Bill Cobbs may have left this world, but through his work, he will forever remind us that true greatness is found not in fame or flash, but in honesty, heart, and humanity. Gene Hackman was more than just an actor, he was a force of nature. Born on January 30, 1930, in San Bernardino, California, Hackman's journey to Hollywood was anything but easy. After serving in the U.S. Marine Corps, he pursued acting with a stubborn determination that matched his unmistakable presence on screen. His breakthrough came in 1971, when he delivered a raw, unforgettable performance as Detective Jimmy "Popeye" Doyle in The French Connection. The role earned him his first Academy Award, and audiences were captivated by his intensity, a blend of grit, realism, and unpredictable energy that made every scene feel alive. Hackman's ability to transform himself was unmatched. Whether playing a conflicted sheriff in Unforgiven, a determined coach in Hoosiers, or a corrupt lawyer in Crimson Tide, he brought honesty and humanity to every character. There was no vanity in his performances, only truth. In 1992, he won his second Oscar for Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood's powerful western about violence and redemption. Hackman's portrayal of Little Bill Daggett, both brutal and vulnerable, remains one of the most haunting roles in film history. Off-screen, Gene Hackman was a private man who preferred peace over fame. After retiring from acting in the early 2000s, he turned his creativity toward writing, co-authoring several novels. His humility and dedication to his craft earned him deep respect from colleagues and fans alike. On May 18, 2025, Gene Hackman passed away at the age of 95. His death marked the end of an era, one defined by authenticity, power, and emotional truth. Gene Hackman will forever be remembered as one of the greatest actors of all time, a man who didn't just play characters, but became them, leaving audiences breathless and forever changed. Lionel Richie Jr., a name that became synonymous with soul, love, and timeless melody, was born on June 20, 1949, in Tuskegee, Alabama. From humble beginnings in the Deep South, he rose to become one of the most beloved voices in American music history. Lionel first found fame in the 1970s as a member of the Commodores, where he helped create classics like Easy, 3 Times a Lady, and Still. His warm tone and heartfelt lyrics turned simple love songs into lifelong memories for millions. In the 1980s, Lionel launched an incredible solo career that made him a global superstar. Songs like Hello, Truly, All Night Long, and Say You, Say Me captured the magic of his artistry, blending pop, R&B, and soul into something universally beautiful. Each note he sang carried warmth, sincerity, and emotion. His songwriting extended beyond his own voice. He wrote the timeless hit Endless Love, performed with Diana Ross, and co-wrote We Are the World with Michael Jackson, a song that united nations and raised millions for humanitarian relief. Over his 6-decade career, Lionel Richie sold more than 100 million records, earned 4 Grammy Awards, an Academy Award, and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But even beyond the accolades, it was his humility and charm that made fans adore him. On June 9, 2025, Lionel Richie passed away peacefully at the age of 76. His death marked the end of an era, but not the end of his voice. His music continues to echo in weddings, concerts, and hearts all around the world. Lionel Richie's legacy is one of love, unity, and joy. He reminded us that the simplest melodies can carry the deepest emotions, and that true artists never fade away. His songs will forever dance through time, whispering one message that defined his life. Let the music bring us together. Loretta Lynn, the legendary coal miner's daughter, was more than a country music singer, she was the voice of resilience, honesty, and the American spirit. Born on April 14, 1932, in Butcher Hollow, Kentucky, Loretta grew up in a small cabin without electricity or running water. The daughter of a coal miner, she knew hardship firsthand, but she also knew hope. From those humble beginnings, she rose to become one of the most beloved and influential figures in country music history. Loretta began writing songs drawn from her own life, raw, truthful, and fearless. When she sang about heartache, poverty, and strength, listeners heard themselves in her lyrics. Hits like Coal Miner's Daughter, You Ain't Woman Enough, and Don't Come Home Drinking made her a groundbreaking female voice in a genre then dominated by men. Her honesty often stirred controversy, but it also changed country music forever. Loretta wrote about divorce, motherhood, and a woman's right to speak her mind, topics that few dared to touch at the time. She became a symbol of empowerment long before the word became popular. Over her 7-decade career, Loretta Lynn recorded more than 60 albums, won 3 Grammy Awards, and became the first woman ever named Entertainer of the Year by the Country Music Association. In 2013, she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, a tribute to her impact on both music and American culture. On April 30, 2025, Loretta Lynn passed away peacefully at her home in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee, at the age of 93. Her death marked the end of an era, but her spirit still echoes through every song she ever wrote and every artist she ever inspired. Loretta Lynn's legacy is that of a pioneer, a woman who transformed her struggles into strength and turned the story of her life into the soundtrack of America. Her voice may be silent now, but her songs will forever remind us where she came from and how far she helped music and women come. Sally Field, one of the most beloved and versatile actresses in American film and television, passed away on September 3, 2025, at the age of 79. Her death marked the end of an era in Hollywood, a career defined by honesty, strength, and the ability to make audiences truly feel. Born on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California, Sally began her journey in entertainment as a teenager, starring in television shows like Gidget and The Flying Nun. Even in those early roles, her charm and natural warmth made her stand out. But it was her transition from light-hearted TV comedies to powerful dramatic performances that revealed her depth as an artist. Over the decades, Sally Field proved that she could do it all. She won 2 Academy Awards for Best Actress, first for Norma Ray in 1979, where she portrayed a factory worker who becomes a union activist, and again for Places in the Heart in 1984, a role that showcased her resilience and emotional strength. Both performances remain iconic, cementing her as one of Hollywood's most gifted performers. Her unforgettable roles in Steel Magnolias, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Forrest Gump captured the full range of human emotion, from laughter to heartbreak. Whether she was playing a fierce mother, a determined fighter, or a loving friend, Sally brought raw truth to every character. Off-screen, she was an outspoken advocate for women's rights, LGBTQ+ equality, and mental health awareness. Her memoir, In Pieces, revealed her vulnerability and courage, earning admiration for her honesty and strength. Sally Field's career spanned more than 6 decades, filled with performances that touched hearts around the world. She once famously said, "The extraordinary is in what we do, not who we are." Through her art and her spirit, she proved that to be true. Sally Field will be remembered not only for her incredible talent but for her humanity, for the emotion, humor, and compassion she brought to everything she did. Her legacy is one of authenticity, love, and the timeless reminder that storytelling has the power to heal. Smokey Robinson, the velvet-voiced poet of Motown, passed away on August 12, 2025, at the age of 85. Born William Smokey Robinson Jr. on February 19, 1940, in Detroit, Michigan, he grew up surrounded by the rhythm and spirit of a city that would soon change the sound of American music forever. In the late 1950s, Smokey founded the Miracles, one of Motown's first and most successful groups. With his silky tenor voice and extraordinary gift for storytelling, he helped define the label's golden era. Songs like The Tracks of My Tears, You've Really Got a Hold on Me, and Oh Baby Baby became timeless classics, blending emotion and poetry in a way few songwriters could match. But Robinson's talent reached far beyond his own performances. As a songwriter and producer, he penned hits for other Motown legends, including My Guy for Mary Wells, My Girl for the Temptations, and countless others. His writing carried elegance and heart, capturing both joy and heartbreak with effortless grace. Through the 1970s and 1980s, Smokey reinvented himself as a solo artist, with hits like Cruisin', Being With You, and Just to See Her. His smooth voice, gentle demeanor, and lyrical honesty made him one of the most beloved figures in R&B and pop music. Beyond his artistry, Smokey Robinson was a symbol of class and humility. He helped guide Motown through its early years, standing alongside Berry Gordy as both an artist and a visionary. Even decades later, he remained active in music, performing to sold-out audiences and inspiring younger generations of singers and songwriters. When news of his passing broke, tributes poured in from across the world, from music legends, fans, and the countless artists he influenced. Smokey Robinson's songs were more than hits, they were love letters to life itself, written in melody and soul. His legacy endures in every note of Motown's history. He will forever be remembered as a pioneer, a poet, and one of the purest voices ever to grace the stage, a man whose music taught us that love, in all its forms, is worth singing about. There are movie stars, and then there are those rare few who go beyond the screen, who become something larger than life. They don't just play heroes, they define them. They make us laugh, cry, and believe that courage still exists in a world full of fear. They make us remember that strength doesn't always come from muscles, sometimes it comes from the soul. And for over 4 decades, one man embodied that kind of strength. A man who stood barefoot on broken glass, walked through fire, and fought his way through the hardest battles, both on screen and in life. His name is Walter Bruce Willis. Born on March 19, 1955, in the small town of Idar-Burstein, West Germany, Bruce Willis would grow up to become one of the most beloved and iconic action stars in the history of Hollywood. He was the everyman hero, not perfect, not invincible, but real. When he laughed, we laughed. When he bled, we felt his pain. And when he stood up after being knocked down, we saw ourselves in him. But behind that smirk and that swagger, behind the explosions, the one-liners, and the bullet holes, there was always something deeper. A story about a kid who started with nothing. A young man who found his voice by pretending to be someone else. And a star who fought demons the world couldn't see. This is not just the story of an actor. This is the story of a fighter, a man who refused to quit even when life gave him every reason to stop. This is the story of Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis was born into an ordinary family, far away from the flashing lights of Hollywood. His father, David Willis, was an American soldier stationed in Germany after World War II. His mother, Marlene, was German, hardworking, practical, loving, and strong. When Bruce was just 2 years old, the family moved to Carneys Point, New Jersey, where his father worked as a mechanic and factory laborer. They weren't rich. They weren't famous. They were just a working-class family trying to make ends meet, and Bruce was just a regular kid. But from the start, something made him different. He was full of energy, always cracking jokes, always performing. He was the kind of kid who could turn an ordinary moment into a comedy show. Yet, life wasn't always easy for young Bruce. He had a severe stutter. Every word was a battle. Every sentence, a struggle. Classmates teased him. Teachers grew frustrated. For a boy who loved to talk, to entertain, to connect, this was torture. But Bruce found something that changed everything: acting. When he stepped onto a stage for the first time, something miraculous happened. The stutter disappeared. It was as if performing gave him freedom. A voice that had always been trapped inside him finally broke through. That moment became the spark. The fire that would drive him through every rejection, every failure, and every challenge for the rest of his life. After high school, Bruce didn't go straight to Hollywood. He worked hard jobs, blue-collar jobs. He was a security guard, a bartender, and even a private investigator for a short time. He knew the grind. He knew what it meant to struggle. But even while working, he never stopped dreaming. At night, he performed in small community theaters. He studied drama at Montclair State University, but dropped out after his sophomore year to pursue acting full-time. It was a bold move, some would say foolish. But Bruce never saw failure as something to fear. He only saw time, and he refused to waste it. So, he packed his bags and moved to New York City. The city of dreams and heartbreak. He waited tables, tended bar, and auditioned for anything he could find. For years, nothing big happened. He lived in cheap apartments, hustled for work, and kept his faith alive through sheer willpower. But something about Bruce made people remember him, that spark in his eyes, that laugh, that confidence that said, "I'll make it." Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I'll make it. And he did. One night, while tending bar, a casting director noticed him. He had a natural charisma, a charm you couldn't fake. That chance encounter would open a door that would soon lead him to his first big break. The stage was set. The actor who had once been a stuttering boy from New Jersey was about to become one of the most recognizable faces in the world. But before the fame, before the billions, before the legend of John McClane, there was still the climb. And Bruce Willis was just getting started. Success is never instant. It comes to those who keep moving when the world says stop. And for Bruce Willis, the road to fame was long, uncertain, and filled with rejection. In the early 1980s, Bruce was still hustling for roles. He auditioned for television, off-Broadway plays, commercials, anything that would keep the dream alive. Most casting directors said no. He was told he didn't have the right look. He wasn't polished enough. He was too ordinary for Hollywood standards. But that ordinary quality, that realness, would soon become his greatest strength. For nearly a decade, Bruce scraped by doing what many actors never talk about: small, uncredited parts, background work, and voiceovers. He appeared briefly on television shows like Miami Vice and even did commercials just to pay the bills. Every job was a reminder of how far he was from where he wanted to be. But Bruce had something most people didn't: relentless confidence. He once said, "If you spend too much time staring at the door that closed, you'll never see the one that's open." And in 1985, a door finally opened. In 1985, Bruce landed a role that would change everything: David Addison Jr. in the ABC series Moonlighting. It was a romantic comedy-meets-detective show that co-starred Sybil Shepherd. From the moment Bruce appeared on screen, something clicked. His quick wit, his charm, his mischievous smile, audiences loved him. The chemistry between Willis and Shepherd was electric, and critics took notice. The show became a massive hit, and suddenly, Bruce Willis wasn't just another struggling actor, he was a television star. He won a Golden Globe Award and an Emmy, cementing his place in Hollywood spotlight. But what no one realized at the time was that Bruce was just getting warmed up. Television had made him famous, but movies were about to make him immortal. In 1988, 20th Century Fox took a risk on a then little-known TV actor for the lead role in an action movie called Die Hard. At the time, the studio had approached stars like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Both turned it down. So they gave the role to Bruce Willis. Critics laughed. The guy from Moonlighting? In an action movie? He's not an action hero, they said. But then Die Hard hit theaters. And everything changed. As John McClane, the wisecracking New York cop trapped in a Los Angeles skyscraper, Bruce Willis redefined what it meant to be an action star. He wasn't a superhuman killing machine. He wasn't invincible or unflawed. He was ordinary, a husband trying to save his wife, a man trying to survive. And that's what made him extraordinary. He got hurt, he bled, he cried, he cursed, and we loved him for it. He was us, in the middle of chaos, fighting with grit and heart. When Bruce delivered that one line, "Yippee mother f***," it became an instant classic. It wasn't just a catchphrase. It was a declaration of rebellion, humor, and raw courage. The movie became a phenomenon, grossing over $140 million worldwide. Critics praised his performance. Audiences couldn't get enough. And just like that, the bartender from New Jersey became one of the biggest movie stars on earth. Die Hard didn't just make Bruce Willis famous, it reinvented the entire action genre. From that moment on, every hero who came after would be compared to John McClane. But Bruce wasn't content with being typecast. He had range, depth, and an instinct for storytelling. In the years that followed, he starred in Country, 1989, showing his dramatic side, and Look Who's Talking, 1989, a family comedy that proved he could make people laugh as easily as he could make them cheer. The world now knew that Bruce Willis was more than muscles and gunfights. He was a performer who could feel, who could connect, who could make the audience believe. By the end of the 1980s, Bruce Willis was no longer a newcomer. He was a global phenomenon. He had gone from a struggling bartender to a leading man in one of the greatest action films ever made. He had won awards, earned respect, and found his place in Hollywood. But fame brings pressure. And the next chapter of his life, both professionally and personally, would test him in ways he could never have imagined. By the early 1990s, Bruce Willis was more than just a movie star. He was a force of nature. A man whose presence on screen could make audiences laugh, cry, and hold their breath all at once. After Die Hard, Bruce had entered a league of his own. But it wasn't just one movie that made him an icon, it was his relentless work ethic, his creative risk-taking, and his refusal to be predictable. The success of Die Hard spawned a new era in action cinema. In 1990, Bruce returned in Die Hard 2, Die Harder. This time, John McClane was taking on terrorists at an airport. The explosions were bigger, the stakes higher, and the world was hooked. 2 years later, in Die Hard with a Vengeance, 1995, Bruce teamed up with Samuel L. Jackson, delivering one of the best action sequels ever made. By now, McClane wasn't just a character, he was a symbol of perseverance and grit. But Bruce never let himself get trapped in the cage of his own success. He refused to be only the action guy. He wanted to show the world there was more to him than guns and explosions. In 1994, Bruce took one of the biggest creative risks of his career, appearing in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. He played Butch Coolidge, a washed-up boxer who refuses to throw a fight. It was raw, quiet, and deeply human, the complete opposite of his action roles. That performance reminded the world that Bruce Willis wasn't just a blockbuster name. He was a serious actor. Pulp Fiction revitalized his career, earning him critical acclaim and placing him back at the top of Hollywood's elite. Then came 1998's Armageddon, the ultimate blockbuster. Directed by Michael Bay, the film told the story of oil drillers sent to space to save the planet from an asteroid. Bruce played Harry Stamper, a tough leader who sacrifices everything for the sake of humanity. It was emotional, heroic, and larger than life, everything audiences wanted from a Willis film. When Harry said goodbye to his daughter before the final explosion, moviegoers around the world cried. That's what Bruce did best, he made you feel. That same year, he also appeared in The Siege alongside Denzel Washington, another hit that showed his versatility in tense political dramas. In 1999, Bruce Willis gave what many consider his finest performance, in M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense. He played Dr. Malcolm Crowe, a child psychologist helping a boy who claimed to see the dead. It was a quiet, subdued role, filled with sorrow, compassion, and mystery. The film became a global phenomenon, earning 6 Academy Award nominations and over $670 million at the box office. But more than that, The Sixth Sense reminded the world of Bruce's depth as a performer. He could be explosive when needed, but also deeply introspective and emotionally devastating. The twist ending became one of the most iconic in cinema history, and Bruce's performance became the emotional anchor that made it all work. Just 1 year later, Bruce reunited with Shyamalan for Unbreakable, 2000. He played David Dunn, an ordinary man who discovers he has superhuman strength and an indestructible body. It wasn't your typical superhero film. It was quiet, dark, and reflective, about what it means to find purpose in pain. Critics hailed it as one of the most intelligent and soulful superhero stories ever made, and over time, it became a cult classic. Once again, Bruce proved that real strength isn't loud, it's steady, it's calm, it's unshakable. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, Bruce Willis continued to dominate the screen. He starred in Sin City, 2005, bringing comic book grit to life. He returned for Live Free or Die Hard, 2007, and A Good Day to Die Hard, 2013, proving that age could never dull McClane's edge. He shone in Looper, 2012, playing an older version of Joseph Gordon-Levitt in a futuristic crime thriller that critics adored. From action to drama, from comedy to sci-fi, Bruce kept reinventing himself. No matter the genre, audiences always knew, if Bruce Willis was in it, it was worth watching. Over his career, Bruce received dozens of honors, including 2 Emmy Awards, a Golden Globe, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2006. But awards were never what mattered to him. What mattered were the fans, the millions of people who saw themselves in his characters. He once said, "I'm just a guy who got lucky. I get to do what I love, and people let me keep doing it. That humility, that grounded attitude, made him even more loved. He wasn't the kind of star who distanced himself from the audience, he was the audience. The factory worker, the cop, the father, the underdog, Bruce Willis represented all of them. By the mid-2010s, Bruce Willis had appeared in over 100 films. His movies had grossed more than $9 billion worldwide. He was one of the highest-earning actors in history, but to his fans, he was simply Bruce. He didn't chase fame, it came to him. He didn't pretend to be perfect, he was real. And that's what made his golden years truly golden. The man who once struggled with a stutter was now one of the most recognizable voices in cinema. The boy who once couldn't speak now spoke to the hearts of millions. But every story of triumph has its shadows. And the next chapter of Bruce Willis's life would test his strength like never before. Behind every legend is a person. And behind every blockbuster smile, there's a story that rarely makes the headlines. For Bruce Willis, the man who made the world believe in heroes, real life was never a movie. It was filled with triumphs, yes, but also pain, loss, and the kind of quiet courage that comes from simply enduring. Bruce wasn't the type of Hollywood celebrity who hid behind bodyguards and red carpets. He was known for being down-to-earth, the same blue-collar energy that had always defined him. He married actress Demi Moore in 1987, and together they became one of the most admired couples in Hollywood. They had 3 daughters, Rummer, Scout, and Tallulah. For a time, they seemed untouchable. The cool, glamorous, perfect Hollywood family. But fame has a way of wearing people down. After 13 years of marriage, Bruce and Demi divorced in 2000, not with scandal, not with bitterness, but with grace. They remained close friends. In fact, they raised their children together with love and respect, even celebrating holidays side by side. That bond, rare in Hollywood, became one of Bruce's proudest achievements. In 2009, Bruce found love again with Emma Heming Willis, a model and entrepreneur. They married in a beautiful ceremony in Turks and Caicos, and together they had 2 daughters, Mabel and Evelyn. With Emma, Bruce found peace, a quieter, more grounded kind of happiness. They built a blended family filled with love, laughter, and unity. Even Demi and Bruce's adult daughters became close with Emma. They all stood together, one family, one heart. But even with fame, fortune, and family, Bruce faced struggles that fame couldn't fix. The constant grind of the film industry began to take its toll. Long hours, physical demands, the pressure to always perform, it wore him down. He often described himself as someone who lived in 2 worlds, the man on the screen and the man at home. And like all human beings, he had moments of doubt. Moments of pain that no camera could capture. Yet, what always set Bruce apart was his humor. Even in darkness, he found laughter. He was the kind of man who would make the crew laugh between takes, who treated everyone on set with kindness. His colleagues often said, Bruce never acted like a movie star. He acted like a friend. In March 2022, Bruce's family made an announcement that stunned the world. Bruce Willis was stepping away from acting after being diagnosed with aphasia, a brain disorder that affects speech and comprehension. The man whose voice had echoed through cinema for decades, the man known for his sharp wit and iconic one-liners, was losing his ability to communicate. It was devastating. Fans all over the world mourned the news, not because of what Bruce could no longer do, but because of what he had already given. A year later, in 2023, his family revealed an even more heartbreaking update. Doctors had confirmed that Bruce's condition had progressed to frontotemporal dementia, or FTD, a rare and cruel brain disease that affects personality, behavior, and language. There is no cure. No treatment that can stop it. For most people, it would be a reason to retreat. But Bruce's family turned his diagnosis into a mission, to spread awareness, to educate, and to support others facing the same battle. From the beginning, Bruce's wife Emma has been his rock. She has spoken openly about the challenges of caregiving, but also about the beauty of their shared love. Her devotion has inspired millions. His daughters, from both marriages, have surrounded him with constant love and attention. They post photos, share memories, and continue to celebrate his life publicly, not with sadness, but with gratitude. Demi Moore, his ex-wife and lifelong friend, also remains by his side. She often visits, helping to care for Bruce as part of one large, unbreakable family. They've called themselves Team Willis, a family united by love, not tragedy. Today, Bruce lives a quiet life away from the spotlight, spending his days surrounded by nature, laughter, and the warmth of his family. He may not speak as he once did, but his eyes still shine with the same mischievous glimmer fans remember. His daughters say he loves music, he loves being outdoors, and he still dances when no one's looking. He is not gone. He is here. Just in a different way, softer, quieter, but still full of love. In a world obsessed with fame, Bruce Willis has reminded us all of something profoundly simple. That life is not about how loud you live, but how deeply you love. When Bruce's family shared his diagnosis, they didn't ask for pity. They asked for understanding. They wanted people to know that behind every headline, there's a human being, a father, a husband, a friend. They wrote, "Bruce has always found joy in life, and we will continue to find that joy for him and with him." That message, simple, yet powerful, touched millions. It reminded the world that the strength we saw in John McClane was never fiction. It was always Bruce. He fought villains, asteroids, assassins, and ghosts on screen. But in real life, he fights something far more difficult, and he does it with quiet dignity, grace, and courage. And that is what makes Bruce Willis not just a Hollywood legend, but a human inspiration. There comes a moment in every great story when the action stops, and silence speaks louder than words. For Bruce Willis, that moment has come. Not as an ending, but as a reflection of a life lived fearlessly, passionately, and authentically. Bruce Willis didn't play heroes, he was one. He never needed a cape, or armor, or superpowers. He was the guy next door, flawed, funny, and fiercely loyal. He was the man who would bleed for the people he loved. In Die Hard, he crawled barefoot across broken glass to save his wife. In Armageddon, he sacrificed himself to save the planet. In The Sixth Sense, he taught a lost boy how to be brave. And in Unbreakable, he showed us that real strength often comes from pain. Those weren't just characters. They were pieces of Bruce, pieces of the man behind the movies. He didn't just entertain us. He represented us. Bruce Willis gave us more than 4 decades of unforgettable moments. He made us laugh with his quick wit. He made us cry with his quiet, emotional honesty. He made us believe that even in the darkest moments, we could stand tall and fight back. He redefined what it meant to be a movie star. He didn't chase perfection, he embraced imperfection. He wasn't a machine, he was human. And that's why people loved him. From Moonlighting to Die Hard, from The Sixth Sense to Looper, Bruce Willis became a symbol of resilience. A storyteller who never stopped giving everything he had. Even now, away from the spotlight, Bruce continues to inspire millions. His story reminds us that life isn't about how much you achieve, it's about how deeply you live. He once said, "You can't undo the past, but you can always start again." And that's exactly what he did, time and time again. When he stumbled, he stood up. When he was doubted, he proved them wrong. When he faced silence, he found strength in love. For all his fame, Bruce Willis's greatest role was never on a movie screen. It was the role of a father, a husband, a brother, a friend. He adored his children, all 5 of them, and they adored him back. He once said that being a father was the one job where I always know my lines. Today, his family carries his light forward. His laughter, his wisdom, his heart. And when they look at him, they don't see a Hollywood legend. They see the man who made pancakes on Sundays, who sang along to old blues songs, who danced in the kitchen when no one was watching. That's the real Bruce Willis. A man who found joy in the simplest things. There's something poetic about Bruce Willis's story. He began as a boy who struggled to speak, and became one of the most famous voices in the world. He started out working class, no connections, no shortcuts, and became a star who defined a generation. He made people believe that even when life breaks you down, you can fight your way back up. That's his legacy. That's his gift. Bruce Willis may no longer be in front of the camera, but his spirit lives on in every frame he ever filmed. In every smile he brought to a stranger. In every yippee that echoes through time. Because legends don't fade. They evolve. They remain, in memories, in stories, in hearts. So tonight, as the lights dim and the credits roll, we stand in gratitude for a man who gave us so much. He showed us that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it's quiet, steady, unstoppable. He reminded us that heroes don't just save the day. Sometimes, they save our belief in humanity. And that is why Bruce Willis will forever be more than a star. He will always be a legend, a father, a fighter, and a symbol of strength that will never, ever fade. This was the story of Bruce Willis, a man who taught the world that even the toughest heroes have the biggest hearts. Person with praying hands, like this video, subscribe to Gone Legends, and help us keep their memories alive.